Welcome back, folks, to Rudy's Roundtable. I have a very special guest with me today, a fellow magician, the one and only Joe Weaver. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Rudy. How you doing?
Doing very well, very well, very well.
Good.
I wanted to actually connect first and kind of take us back through time to when we first met. And please remind me, just to make sure, this was at the Roundtable Magic Show, was the first time we got a chance to connect, right?
Yeah, exactly. Came to your show and then hung out after to meet up with you, and that's right before Magic Live last year.
Yeah.
And wanted to say hi and talk to you and let you know about the local Sam 206, and then found out you and Michael and everyone else was going to Magic Live as well. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Got to go out there as well.
Yeah. No, I was actually curious too if how you first heard about either the Roundtable Magic Show or how that word even got to you in that first place.
You know, honestly, I don't know exactly. I always look online to find local shows. And every local show I find, I'm like, nope, I want to go out. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Got to support local magic if we want local magic to work.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and it was great there, as you mentioned before, that we had a chance to all go to Magic Live together and get a chance to experience Vegas and all that. For anyone who doesn't know, for our viewers, Magic Live is, I think, one of, if not the largest conference for magicians nationwide.
It's the largest in the U.S., yeah. Blackpool is the largest international one, but Blackpool apparently is a terrible place to go.
Okay, now we know.
Yeah.
So I'm just so curious. Of course, I know you through the Magic Connection, of course, but I always want to know every magician story, right? Because I think it's always pretty unique. How did you first even get into magic? What is your journey with this art form?
Kind of the beginning, the standard beginning story. Yeah. Well, the standard beginning story, and I actually had to look up for like some ages and such, is I was doing magic by the time I was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
And my mom actually used to write a book for me every year. That'd get on my birthday that said what we'd done that past year. And year 5 was her talking about different tricks that I'd done.
Almost like a year in review as far as like some, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she wrote out like a journal, and every year on my birthday, that's what I'd get.
Wow.
And yeah, I've still got it when we're like age 10.
Yeah.
And yeah, she
What a cool
hand-wrote
gift.
everything in
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I probably didn't appreciate it enough when I was that age, but now I'm like, oh my God, this is the one thing that I run back in the house in a fire for.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, dogs maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so she had written in there about me doing magic tricks when I was like 5 years old. And I did bring, I'll show you there. You can
Yes,
show
you want
everyone.
to show to the folks
That
here. Yeah.
Spooky Tricks was the very first magic book that I had. And she actually mentions in there a trick where you stick needles into your thumb was one of her favorite ones. But the other one, and the one that I still love today, is color vision.
Color vision. Can you tell us about color vision?
So color vision is where you've got a cube with 6 different colors and images on each side, and an opaque box, and you drop. Someone picks one, drops it in there, puts the lid on it, hands it to the magician, and they tell you what it is.
What?
And that was the first one that I read all the instructions for. I figured it out on my own. And my parents kept me up until like 11 o'clock that night trying to figure out how it was done.
Wow. Okay.
Show it to me again, show it to me again, show it to me again. And finally my mom figured it out, and we would not tell my dad, and that pissed him off to no end.
Do you remember the feeling of that emotion of like performing for your parents and just like the excitement of it,
Yeah, it was so exciting, and it's obviously kind of changed over time. Like from I'm fooling someone, I've got this thing that no one knows, to now where it's a very different feeling where I want to give people that feeling of wonderment. But at that point, it was, at 5, I know something mom and dad don't know, and this is awesome.
Yeah, you're like, what? Like, no way.
But yeah, so I went on from that and had the Fisher Price magic set, which was also a lot of fun. And it was just as magic in the back as it was the front. Like,
okay. How so?
It was like colored little hooks that you would move back and forth on one side to have like 3 doors that would open on the front, and you put something in one, and then you move the blue over so it's under the yellow, and then the rabbit's in the yellow box. So it was just as much fun on the other side as it was on the performing side of it.
Like the method. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. So went into that, and then I don't know, a few years later, this guy Taylor Keene out of Waco opened up Keene's Magic and Gift Shop.
And this is kind of like where you were raised, like the Waco
In,
area?
in Waco, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
grew
for
up in
context,
Waco.
for context.
Yeah,
Okay.
grew up in Waco. He opened Keene's Magic and Gift Shop. And, man, I started hanging out there all the time.
So I'm just curious. So just to backtrack before we get there, do you know then, was it your mom that first exposed you to magic? Did you just come across a book? Because I know, so by 5 you were doing magic, but do you remember what was like the starting point? Like the impetus?
It would have been my mom that would have, taken me to see a show or something at a fair or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it was like, that is really cool. And
Gotcha.
I want to do that.
Okay. And then from there, the books, spooky tricks, and then you said at 10 is when the magic store opens?
Probably about 10 years old.
10
yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah. And got a hot rod.
Okay.
Yeah. Which every magician gets a hot rod at some point.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we all play with that.
Yeah.
And remember going up there and him show me the move.
Yeah.
Show me the move in the mirror, and you're gonna stand here, kid, and you're gonna do this move.
Yeah.
You're gonna do this till you can't get it wrong. And yeah, he was pretty much my mentor for next 6-7 years or so.
Wow. Okay.
Up through high school, would fill in at the magic shop doing demos and that sort of thing. It was Waco. It got a little slow from time to time, but yeah. So
curious there, were you the only one that was in a sense like an apprentice? Like did he see like a potential in you? Like what or how did that?
Yeah, I mean there were there was a pretty small magic club in Waco at that point that I looked it up a while back and isn't there anymore. It's just gone. I don't know, 10, 12 years or so ago, I ran into one of the guys I'd known at the magic auction. And he's older guy then, much older guy then, and I don't know that he's around anymore. But yeah, that magic club just kind of died out. But there were 2 or 3 kind of younger people that were into it. Myself, this guy Tommy Smith, and his dad I don't know if he ever toured or did anything, but his dad had been a magician as well, so he kind of got that passed down to him.
Yeah.
So
I'm also curious about that then. So then, man, so just read to my experience, like I didn't have a mentor, or like I had a magic shop that I went to very occasionally, right, growing up, but to have the experience of perform, I'm guessing, did you get a chance to perform at the magic shop and everything too, right?
So I demoed some of the stuff that was there.
Can you walk me through a little bit about how that experience helped shape you as a magician, or kind of what that gave you in facing the crowds early on and doing kind of salesmanship too?
Yeah, and I mean, it's as a kid, you just don't care.
Yeah,
at that point, you're like, I'm a kid. I'm like 10,
which is crazy.
If I screw up, it doesn't really matter. I mean, who's gonna yell at a 10-year-old? Honestly, who's gonna call out the 10-year-old for screwing up a double lift or something like that? Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. So I mean, it was pretty basic tricks. It was it was kind of pitch magic. It was Bengali duck. It was
the
hot
classics,
rod. It was ickle pickle nickel for a fun one there. But yeah, it was stuff like that. But it was still interacting with people when they came in and, well, what's that? What's that? What's that? Let me show it to you.
Right.
So, yeah.
I'm just thinking of all the skills you get, especially being that young, right? The ability to start to get some confidence in yourself, to kind of play the salesman role as well, but then also knowing how to talk to other people and how to, because I know, at least for me, being a magician, like, can be a little ostracizing at times. And so being kind of in that scenario where you are in a positive light, right? People are kind of interested into seeing it. Like, I just feel, would you say that it gave you a chance to learn a lot of cool skills, like, early on?
Yeah, I would say so, because at that point you're learning what I think is kind of the most valuable thing is learning how to interact with people. Like, doing the tricks and the slides and stuff doesn't really matter, man. At the end of the day. It's that interaction that you have with a person. And like I was saying a few minutes ago, that it started out awesome. I fooled mom and dad. That's a great feeling. But as you get further into it, it continues into, no, I don't just want to fool someone. I want to interact with someone.
Right.
I want to talk to them about something. I want them to feel something besides what's the puzzle here. Because if it's just a puzzle, it's not not really that fun.
Yeah,
on either side.
Yeah, it becomes more of like a power play of like I have information you don't have, and that like yes, that can be a dynamic of Magic, but it's not the funnest dynamic of it, right?
I don't think it's a really fun dynamic, and I don't know, and there's some people that make it work, you know, that it's I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you. Jason Ladanye. I mean, he's awesome and does great gambling routines. It's like, cool, you're really good at that. Awesome. I don't really, have that connection to you though at that point. So
now, as you're growing up, because also just I can imagine being in a Magic shop, just you'll see the different books, you'll see the different, you'll get to know the names of the greats. Did you have any early inspirations or early, apart from the Magic store owner, any other mentors or magicians that you looked up to at that time?
Paul Harris, Johnny S. Palmer. Yeah, because Johnny S. Palmer, I think, just won FISM or IBM around that time. And so, yeah, he did a great act. He did a Cups and Balls act that was amazing. But Paul Harris and a lot of his coin work was really, really cool.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What attracted you to the coin stuff of Magic? Yeah.
I had and still have small hands. So cards were really difficult as a kid at that point. So, and the rule always is, don't go bridge size. You got to go poker size cards because everyone's going to look at bridge size cards as being weird.
Yeah, it's just like what? Like okay, yeah.
So like I said, had small hands, and so coins worked.
Yeah,
so,
perfect coins. Yeah.
So like $50, perfect.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, I actually competed at TAOM in '91.
I didn't know this. What?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. What was it? Was it a coin routine? Like what
I actually did both stage and close up.
Really?
Competition that year. It was in Tyler, Texas.
About how old were you around this time?
So 91. I was born in 77. So
20s?
No, like 13, 14.
Oh shit! No, sorry. My math is off. For a second, I was like, wait.
You're not gonna do Magic Square later.
Yeah.
Huh?
No. This is why I'm a magician, not a mathematician. Very big difference.
But yeah, like 13 or so, I want to say. 12, 13. Yeah. And yeah, coin routine was like a coin matrix, coins across. Did Paul Harris where I forget the name of it. It's not Spellbound, but it's where he's got the mirror.
Okay.
And the coin's in front of it, and then you pull the mirror, and the coin is duplicated.
Wow. I've never seen that, but that sounds crazy.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Man.
So did that, and then did a weird stage act that was like a production act that then led into an escape act because, well, Houdini.
Sure, yeah, you got to. At that age, you're like, I got to escape from something. Wow, okay. Man, that's just such an avalanche of experience early on.
Yeah.
Like that was wild. So then, okay, so now walk me through though, both like maybe like the home, like was your family supportive of it, and then how was it like at school doing Magic? Like what were those two worlds?
So home was fairly supportive, so long as I'm going to go to college and get a law or doctorate degree. I have neither one, so that didn't work out. But mom especially was a lot more supportive on it. Dad was supportive. We'll leave it there. And school was fine. Like I did talent shows at school, the school would always rent out like the local theater. And yeah, it was a real small private school.
Yeah.
And so like I did a Dove act, I did like Ribbons to Dove, I did like a bunch of the Mac Magic illusions, if you ever seen any of those, like the Princess Carpet. So woman sits down, you pull the swords out from under, you pull the and then she rotates around. Murder Inc., which was put their head in a box and all the swords go through the box, and you open the front up and they're gone. And wow. So a ton of different stuff like that, which is great. And then I just kind of dropped it for a long time.
Really?
Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me like the range of like the years, like maybe how old you were like you dropped it to like then picked it back up, or
probably like into high school until I don't know, off and on a little bit, but no, 5 years or so ago, 5-6 years ago.
Right.
Okay. I got back into it pretty serious.
Can you remember what made you like dip out, and then what brought you back?
I thought I had musical talent, and I do not. I have no musical talent whatsoever. Yeah.
Do you?
No. It turns out I'm terrible.
No.
I cannot carry a tune. I can't tune a guitar. I can't do any of this.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Oh man. Yeah.
And it was kind of a weird time. Like now we're kind of in like a really, almost like golden age of Magic again. Like it's cool to do. It was not cool at that point in time. Like that was a few years or so before David Blaine came out with his Street Magic special.
Right.
And so that was very much the time of, oh, you do magic. You mean like the doves and the Copperfield bullshit?
And you're like in the crazy suit.
I'm like, no, like here, it's some coins. Watch this. And I'm like, So, yeah. And, when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, what do you want to be? You want to be cool, man.
Yeah, you want to be cool. You don't want to be like the weird magic nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I got married pretty early on. And, just like I said, every once in a while, kind of dip back into it. And then, I don't know, 6 years or so ago, honestly, I think this is a story I've heard from a lot of magicians. Got divorced, got back into it.
Yeah, because I wonder if there is a part of, especially because you got into it so young, right? Where, because I can relate a little bit to this, where I also had to dip out and then a dip in back into it, where there is something where like in one way it connects you to like your inner child in a sense.
Yeah,
but at least. It's like more than that. Like it's like it connects you to creativity. It connects you to fun. It connects you to art. There's something along those lines. I know. Would you say what does magic do for you?
I'd agree. And like you get into it. And when did you get into it? How old were you?
Yeah, I got into it. So actually, kind of crazy. I actually do have video evidence of this. I was born in '92, and then 1999. So when I was like 7 years old, my father had just a bunch of hobbies, just as I was growing up, and for a little bit, he had magic. He's like, hey, let's do a magic show for Christmas Eve. So we rehearsed, my dad and I. He would talk and basically narrate the tricks, and I would do the tricks. And we're talking like very simple, like a cereal box handkerchief production, right? From an empty cereal box, right? Like this, classics, cups and balls, right? The vanishing liquid, like you put water in, and like you pour it and like it disappears, right? Just some of these classic tricks, right? But we practiced like a good maybe half-hour show, and I remember performing it, and it was during Christmas Eve, and from then it was just a really cool, like, whoa, like it was just a whole different world, right?
Yeah.
And I remember even then it wasn't like the only thing I did, but it was a really intense interest for like a year or two, because so we were from Sherman, Texas, a smaller town, especially back then, and then we would drive to Dallas like once every couple months to buy like a VHS tape with the magic props, and then from there, I like dipped out of it. Then when I was like 12, David Blaine came out with like the Street Magic special. And then I was like, oh, magic should be cool. I started learning it again. And then throughout high school, it was like the main thing. But then I dipped out of it at like 2017, 18, somewhere in that age when I was like maybe 22, 23, up until maybe 27, 28. So for about 4 or 5 years, I did it, but it wasn't that intensely, right? It wasn't until pretty much before moving to Austin, but then because I've been in Austin maybe 3 years. But when I got back to Austin was when it just really fired back all the way up.
Nice.
So I can see a lot of magicians who have that period of falling in and out of love with the art form.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work, honestly. At the end of the day, what was your first trick though?
I don't remember the first trick, but I remember the classic cups and balls, and I just remember the feeling. Obviously, it feels like so long ago right now, right? But I just remember the feeling of, and it's so much. It's 3,000 old trick, right? But just the feeling of just knowing that the ball is basically like preloaded, and just kind of having that info of, oh wait, like I'm a whole step ahead before this person knows.
I'm so far ahead,
and like they have no idea, right? And what I realized for me personally is that I just learned so much from magic in the sense that principle works in magic, but also works in life, right? When you're giving a presentation, when you're giving a speech, or when you're planning an event, right? You can have the one ahead principle, like that idea percolates outside of magic, and so that's why I learned a lot about it. Do you remember your first trick?
So I'm gonna say one of the first ones I remember doing was actually sticking needles in your thumb, and I don't think since it's in spooky tricks from. I don't know. I was born in 77, man. So this has got to be way before 77.
Yeah.
I don't think it's given too much away to say it's the end of a carrot.
Yeah, yeah, just hold the
That,
carrot. And just,
yeah, you flip the thing over and then you flip it back and stick the carrot up and pop, pop, pop. And
did you yell when you were
oh
like,
yeah, you got to act it out. So yeah, that would have been one of the first ones. But yeah, I mean, no, kind of what you're saying about how it all kind of goes throughout other parts of life. Like, there's so much that, I mean, one ahead principle. It's one of the things that's really funny is, so I do magic and I do video editing.
yes, yeah.
And there are two things that if you do it right, no one notices at all.
Yeah.
If you screw it up, everyone notices. Everyone notices if you flash the card. Everyone notices if that video edit should have been a second earlier.
Doesn't match. You're like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah,
what,
exactly.
confusing
So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing that those are the two things that I do a lot of is magic and video editing. Two things that if you do it right, which takes a lot of work to do right,
yeah.
no one notices that you did it right.
It's very odd where I can compare it to I just like in grade school it was you always show your work in a math problem and you always hide your work when you write an essay.
Yeah.
And magic and video editing, just as a video editor as well, right? It have that in common where the mark of it being done well is you don't see it. And it's like, well, what? Like that's just a weird trip, right? Because
you do so much work for it not to be noticed.
yes, yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's a really but other people who know, right? Like other people in that field know.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of the other kind of weird part about magic is, you know, there's a big difference between I'm going to show something to a bunch of magicians, I'm going to show something to a person.
Yeah.
Nobody cares besides magicians. like you were just saying, we were talking about video editing and such. Those are the people that notice, okay, wow, that was really cool that they did it this other way.
Yeah.
No person notices. My partner Shelly, I'm like, hey, pick a card. She's like, great, are you going to find it? Yeah, I am.
Not again.
Yeah, no, I won't find it this time. It was like David Regal did one where all the rest of them disappear. That's the one I need to do next there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So you bring up a lot of great points. I think I'm horrible when it comes to magician attribution and when it comes to knowing a lot of like specific names for things. I think it was Paul Harris. I could be very wildly mistaken, but there was a magician I remember reading in a book who said that there's really only or it might have been Teller. There's really only 7 types of magic tricks.
Oh, it's Fitzky.
Is it Fitzky?
Fitzky, yeah.
Fitzky
is like 17. It depends on who you ask, but like 17 tricks.
Yes. Okay.
And that's it. That's all there
yes.
are.
Okay. So then that's what I'm referring to, where it's like either something transforms into something disappears and reappears at an unexpected place, like whatever
something levitates, something's too heavy. It's all variations on it.
And it reminds me, if you heard of Carl Jung, like the psychologist, where there's this idea of the hero of 1,000 faces. There's really only one story that we ever tell, like the monomyth, right? Yeah. Basically the plot of Star Wars, basically. Yeah. And I think there's something to be said with that in magic, where maybe it's not the one story, but at least the key points along that story just seem to repeat, right?
Yeah.
And it really is true because for most people that want to see a movie, right, comparing it to film editing, right, the average audience, the average layperson just wants to be entertained for a film. And if they see something, or they'll probably feel it be a little off. They don't know exactly what happened, but they're like, something was a little off if the editing is off, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to if an editor goes to see a movie, then they're seeing not just a movie, they're seeing the editing process, right, or the result of it, right? So they're seeing a whole different experience. And at the end, it's the same thing when that layperson goes to see a magic trick. They don't know exactly what the magician did, but they know that it wasn't supposed to happen that way. Or they're like, you did something weird there.
Yeah.
You know? They might not have the vocabulary for it. When you find yourself performing for non-magicians, I know you mentioned before you want them to feel more than just the trick itself, than just the puzzle. What do you hope to convey through your magic to people?
I think a lot of people these days, especially these days, really miss that just sense of wonder. Miss any sense of possibility of, that doesn't jive with how I usually see the world and how things usually work. And to show them something, and especially something that happens, to them in their hands, something like that, that isn't ordinary.
Yeah.
Just gives them a moment of, huh, and just takes them out of, their everyday life, which, so many of us get stuck in that, honestly.
Dude, for real. And especially now, I mean, obviously, like the true information age, obviously the advent of AI, like, and everything, where if you just want to know something, like, hey, like how many stones are there in the Great Pyramid, whatever, you could find the exact number on Google, right? Just immediately, right?
Yeah.
And magic, what I love is that it really presents something that you can't just Google. You can't just be, wait, how did that guy change that card? Or how did he put the X in my hand? Or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you can, if somebody's like,
so you could,
hi,
yeah.
I'm going to do this trick. Here's the name of it. Don't do that, guys.
Yeah. But even then, and this is I may be a little bit more contrarian here. I just don't think that revealing tricks, I don't think the average person remembers them as clearly. And it's a thing too where, like, some of my closest friends, for example, that have seen me perform since I was 12 or 13, I've shown them a couple tricks here and there along the way. I'll perform the same tricks, and they're still genuinely amazed. Like, people like, I think especially if your magic is good enough, it doesn't really matter if the person knows the trick or not.
Yeah.
At that point, it just depends on their character, right? It depends if they are a party pooper and someone who is very much, who just can't let go, and that speaks more to them than the magician, I would say.
No, I would agree. Like, you're always going to find somebody who's like, I want to figure it out, and I want to yell it out, and I want to tell everybody how it's done. There's a ton of different ways to deal with that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
It's Jamie Grant in his book, The Approach, and it's talking about, doing gigs and such. He's like, yeah, it's some guy who's just wanted to be the big alpha male and call it out. And he's like, man, you're really smart, huh? That guy's given me like 30 grand worth of business over the past year because I made him look good. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's, I guess, one approach, but,
There's one way to do it.
But yeah, there's, I think people, especially now and maybe not so much in the past, I think people used to look at more as a puzzle, as you're smarter, and it's actually getting to be more of an art form now, in and of itself.
Yeah. Daredevil Audio, yeah.
Oh my God. I've watched that thing and tear up every time I watch it.
Yeah.
Just because it's so amazing. And I know how he does most of it. There's one or two where I'm like,
the cards around the brick, for example, like that one was just so, like, even if you know, it's still like, or just have theories, right?
Yeah. And I mean, he does everything from, pretty incredible gambling technique to pretty simple stuff.
Yeah.
But all of it has this massive impact.
And I think the reason you alluded to earlier is when you talk about doing magic for the average layman, right, for the average person, it's the tricks that always hit hardest are the ones that happen in people's hands.
Yeah.
Or if it's mentalism, that happens in people's minds. That like I thought about that, he didn't. There's no way you could know. And there's something where, like, the physical tangibility of, like, no, it was in my hands, or like it was in my pocket, whatever it is, right? If it's directly on the person, it just means so much more naturally, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm amazed with Derek, within and of itself with that show, is that he does bring a couple spectators at a couple of times, right? But, well, okay, at the ending, of course, validates.
Yeah, the ending is amazing.
In a sense, it's like a mentalism thing all in one, right? But I think it does a really good job of. There's the idea, for example, in a movie where I think of Oppenheimer, right? $100 million budget, which is a lower budget than most blockbuster films would have, like $200 or $300 million. But so many of the famous actors, that many of them just go uncredited or play like a very small role, gave it their all because they know that Nolan is like spearheading this vision, right? Like there's something greater. There's like a greater story that's being told. The music, the art, everything comes into tandem. And I think what in and of itself did really well is that it's not really even about the magic tricks. It's about the story behind the tricks and how the tricks are meant to like really punch up. Like they're the right trick at the right time for the right story. And so when you build that up, that's what creates that crazy thing. It's all in service into one direction. I feel. Right?
No, I agree 100%. I think it's a lot like a comedian.
Yes.
You can watch two comedians tell the same joke, and one dude bombs.
Yeah.
One dude's getting booed off stage. The next person comes on stage, exact same joke. The Aristocrats. And is off the stage, and everyone loves it.
Boom.
Yeah. But it's, I think it really does all come down to the story. Like, there are a lot of really complicated tricks out there to do. There are a lot of really complicated sleights out there to do. I'm going to do this, just triple shift control and then I'm going to do this.
Oh, the back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to duck and then just catch it and this and that. Oh, man, just use a key card and show them the card. Yeah. But do it in a way, wrap something around it. Mm-hmm. There's all the kind of the three standards of magic is you got close-up, you got parlor, you've got sage. Mm-hmm. I think sage is really hard to connect with somebody on.
So difficult, yeah.
Because, most of that is a puzzle at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Hey, I've got this girl, and I've got these swords, and I got this box.
Yeah. Motorcycle. Boom.
Hey!
Yeah. Okay.
And we talked a little bit about this as far as, kind of where's that sweet spot. And for me, where I'm kind of aiming at right now, especially, is more kind of parlor.
Yeah.
You talked about, close up and being having a handful of people there, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of your sweet spot on it. But I think those situations allow for more connection with people, to be able to talk to more people, for more people to handle things.
It's what's so challenging because have you ever gone to see for example, Copperfield's magic show?
Yeah,
or
I saw him on tour in Waco.
Oh wow,
at the Farrell Center.
Wow, do you remember how old you were, or was this younger in your career?
Yeah. I might have been 10.
Oh,
11,
that's epic.
something like that.
That's epic.
Yeah. And
wow.
That was before he had Vegas residency, so he was touring around. Yeah.
Man, that's so crazy. Yeah, that's just man. I just feel that would have been so impactful just as a kid to see Copperfield like a legend, like that early on. Yeah, so I only saw him recently, maybe 2 years ago, for example, and yeah, it just is a challenge. I think he does he does as best as he can as far as telling a couple different stories and trying to connect with people and saying this is my grandfather or whatever, right? And I think it's great, but it almost feels more like a play, right? And the challenge, I think. Because here's actually an idea that I've had, but I couldn't do it because I don't do a stage show. But and this is for any magician, thank you for this out there, is very much like a comedian does callbacks. So for example, like the first third of their 1 hour set, for example, they're laying the groundwork, and in Act 2 and 3, they're referring back to these other things and building or using stuff in different contexts. I think it'd be really interesting to do that format, but with magic. So whether it be with using a special deck of cards or with a certain catchphrase or a certain reveal or something that just, it's like a magic trick that keeps building upon itself as a callback. Does that kind of make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I'm looking off because I'm now I'm thinking about the thing I'm working on.
Yeah. It's a pretty simple thing, right? Imagine, even if you had, for example, at the very beginning, first 10 minutes, the Two of Hearts is a card that's chosen. You keep coming back to the Two of Hearts, but in interesting, funny ways. Yeah. Right. Or it could be a callback, right? Or you have when I saw Aussie Wind at the Inner Circle, he did this thing. He used the same setup line basically, where he said something along the lines of it was a deck of cards and the pack's over there, right? The card box is over there. He's like, you take the card here and actually the AC catches it and the AC actually moves it, right? He would keep referring to the AC, so it was he had a constant feud.
That's awesome.
With the AC, right? So I thought that was genius. So yeah, or, you could use the light guy, whatever it is, I think magicians do miss out on that because what the problem I see with a lot of magic specials and a lot of hour-long shows or plus is that they're just a series of magic tricks instead of one cohesive piece.
Yeah, no, I agree. Once again, 100% on that. Mm-hmm. Have you read Scripting Magic? Peter McCabe.
No. What's that about?
He's a screenwriter.
Whoa. Okay.
And he wrote 2 volumes, Scripting Magic, and it is all about script out what you want to say, what you want your impact to be. And he's like, there's a lot of different kinds of scripts, and a lot of people I talk to are like, man, I don't want to do a script. A script is gonna, confine me. No, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. It gives you a touch point to come back to.
Oh yeah.
If everything went wrong, I know I can at least come back to this. Yeah. And things do go wrong, and they will go wrong. But it always gives you that point to come back to. But so I was saying earlier, kind of working on more of a parlor show that's related to my family and kind of that family history and kind of an odd family history and such. But yeah, I've been scripting that out to make sure that, okay, I hit these points. Mm-hmm. And not just for the magic side of it, but for what I want to convey to people.
What do you? Yeah. So tell me more about the show, because I know you mentioned a little bit about it to me. Yeah. What would be either some inspiration, and then what would you hope to convey to people, like the message? Or
Yeah.
the
So it kind of came about kind of funny at Magic Live last year. Who was I forget who we talked to, was talking about character and character development and scripting. Right. I think it wasn't Steve Valentine. I think it was in the general session though.
Yeah.
Someone was really talking about that and really going in on that. And John Carter and I started talking about it. And he was like, man, you're kind of like a scholarly looking guy and this and that. And I was like, yeah, but I really like all the bizarre shit too. And I'm like, but I'll look like an idiot with like jet black hair, and I am dark and spooky. I'm not dark and spooky. I know that. That's fine. But I still like all that kind of stuff. So we kind of started talking about that. And that led me to kind of thinking about like my family history is one side of my family. We don't use the C word, criminal, but they, may have been involved in some more nefarious activities. Mm-hmm. They may have owned all of the coin-operated machines in Central Texas at one point, and may have, let people know harshly that their business was not welcome here if they wanted to put in a coin-operated machine.
Wow. Yeah.
And, teens, 20s era, there were some other things going on in the U.S. that may have needed to be imported. And
Right.
So I kind of took that and ran with it to create kind of a parlor show that I'm working on right now, which is very much kind of based on that, and them using kind of more occult and bizarre and creative kind of methods of such. But that's why I've been working on, like, really scripting out. And, really just trying to make it something that's more cohesive, not just, like you were saying, like, trick, big trick, good night.
It's easy. Yeah, it's very, and it's, I fall into that pattern a lot too.
It's easy. And a lot of times it works.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that working.
Yeah.
This is just something that, since I don't do a lot of performing, I'm usually, go to the magic meetings, go to the conventions, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Family, friends. This is something that I was like, no, I think I can really make this into a full show, a full thing that works. And also kind of build on it. Hey, maybe not do that piece tonight. Change that out.
Right.
More modular almost. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, So first, I think it's really great. It's a smart move to go back into your family history in that sense, because it naturally makes the show you, right? Like, because I always believe that if all the magicians are doing their thing, we should be, even if we do the same tricks, they should be presented in such a way that only each person could present them. Like the way you do whatever trick, like, should be your way, especially if you have the context of your family history and all that. Like, I think there's a good balance of being both inspired by your family history and also doing a way of, like, honoring it too, right? Kind of continuing the legacy in that sense. And because you could almost say something where like, is a magician a criminal in some way? Like kind of play with that idea.
If we're in a card game, probably, but sure.
I guess, I don't know how gangster we are, right?
We're not at all.
Not at all. But I do like the idea, though, that foundation alone makes the story unique. And then having... Yeah, I mean, tying in. Okay, so that's like the scripting foundation, right? So then, what would you want people to take away from the show, right? What would be some impact you would like to give?
So some of it, and then, like I said, I'm still playing with some of the different effects and such that are in it. But is that pretty much every single effect in there has got a person or people coming up. Mm-hmm. They're interacting with something. They're interacting with these, antiques or artifacts or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And so it's tactile. It's something that happens, once again, in their hands, instead of just being hey, great, and I've got this deck of cards, and bam, Queen of Hearts. Wow. It's always going to be the Queen of Hearts, isn't it? So, but yeah, really having people be a little bit more hands-on and being able to talk to them. I bring film into parts of it as well, because I went to film school at UT, so... Yeah, definitely bring film into it, and different, almost kind of film trivia to talk to people and ask people about. So,
is it called I think it's called microfilm, isn't it? Where, like, you have like the little, like, it's like they're tiny, and then you have a projector, right?
Oh, microfiche. Yeah,
microfiche.
Yeah. I worked at Suncoast in the mall. If you know what that was,
I don't know.
Oh my,
what was that?
Oh, so Suncoast is where you would go, like, in the 90s to buy VHS and later DVDs. And if we didn't have it, we had to look it up on microfiche, which was like 30 or 40 of these little squares.
Yeah.
That we'd have to put it under the little projector and look through the little lens
To see like what?
to see what the number was to order it.
Wow.
And so people would come in all the time and this is long before you just pull it up on your phone.
No, yeah.
What's that movie with that dude? It's not Navy SEALs, okay? I can tell you first off, it's not Navy SEAls.
It's not that guy.
It was Navy SEAls, damn it.
Third one this
But
week.
yeah, what's that movie with that guy? And he was in this movie that just came out this year. Cool, you're looking for this.
And then you have to like find it and go and like,
Yeah.
put the order in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really good at movie trivia, it turns out now, because of that.
'Cause- yeah.
And going to film school and such, so yeah.
So kind of maybe like Radio Shack adjacent vibe.
Radio
Or
Shack.
Shack would be even. No, that'd be more like
No,
supplies
yeah.
and stuff, right? So fries. Well, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Funny story about Radio Shack, actually. So you did short films as well. And we rigged up an entire squib box.
Okay.
So squibs are what you use if someone gets shot in a movie.
Okay.
And so it explodes and,
Like blood,
gunshot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we built our own.
Okay.
But we built them out of like macaroni, and was the charge, and filled with like a blood pack on top of it,
Okay.
and like model rockets, those little fuses and such. But we had to set them off like 3 at a time. So we built a box, and we went to Radio Shack and bought all the components. So we'd hit a button on the box, and then that would blow
Trigger.
up.
Yeah.
We accidentally bought them like a year after 9/11 on 9/11.
Ooh.
And I'm pretty sure I'm on a watch list now for that one.
They're like, I swear, guys, it was a short film.
No, it's a short film. Yeah.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Sorry, tangent there.
Yeah. Well, the reason I was bringing up the microfilm or microfeet, I always heard it as microfilm. I don't know what the other one.
Microfilm, microfiche is all the same.
But just the idea of that could or some sort of projector thing could give credence like the spookyish nature of like newspaper clippings, or even if you have to reprint them or whatever, like that would just be a cool extra thing. Or if you could put together like a short little film or something. That's the other part of it too, where magic doesn't just have to be a pure, like, hey, just me performing the whole time. Like there can be music, there can be little video snippets coming in, like that. It can be a multimedia experience.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, have you ever seen Penn and Teller perform?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got jazz playing before their show.
You're right.
Yeah, so they've got, kind of something else going on. And there's plenty of other people that, hey, I'm going to have in kind of the pre-show. I'm going to have other things playing on screen. I'm going to have, clips. Yeah. I'm going to have this. But I really like your point, though, that they can maybe not just show promo clips of themselves. We all know who we came here to see. So I don't need a promo clip of that dude.
We're here to see who?
Oh, man.
Right? I remember.
I don't like that dude. I'm out.
I'm done.
Seriously.
I went to go see Chris Angel. And Chris Angel, I hope I remember this correctly, before his show, he doesn't have jazz, but he does have... So we'll have like snippets of him performing like Mind Freak and all that. But I believe, I might be misremembering, I believe it was his show, where he'll have like a live Twitter feed, basically, or he'll have like a live Instagram feed of people who have been to the show or people that are going tonight. They can see themselves up on it. So I thought that was a really cool idea there. And then, I don't know if you knew this, but for the Roundtable show I did, the Roundtable Magic show, right? So all the music that was played before as people were seating was 1950s music, because the inspiration, as I started off with Fallout, if you know Fallout, the TV show, or Fallout, the video game series, it's all like, that old 1950s music. So I was inspired by that, but then I did a deep dive and found a bunch of magic-related songs from the 1950s.
Nice.
So those were all the soundtracks. Then for the introduction, the intro song, it was Houdini by Dua Lipa, and the final song was Illusion by Dua Lipa, right? Both like magic theme songs. But the voiceover, I never had anyone call me out on this, but the voiceover is a woman speaking like, hey, you're here to see Rudy, have a fun time. Her voice is AI. It was an AI voice. So what I did is I recorded, and this was like AI like maybe like 8 months ago. Like it's improved a lot since now. But I just recorded myself saying the intro and then you can put a woman's voice or whatever other person's voice over it
awesome.
to replace it. It was crazy technology, but I was like, because I was like, I want to hire like a British sounding,
right?
Woman's voice would be a great intro. I couldn't find any, so I was like, well, let me just do it this way.
That's smarter, cheaper, easier.
Yeah.
You listen to Scott Wells?
Yes. Yeah.
He did an entire episode that was an AI podcast.
No way.
Yeah.
Like with himself or just on his own?
Just he was like, hey, so for this month I'm gonna do this podcast, and it's not gonna be me, it's gonna be these two people, and they're talking about me and this and that, and he ends it and he's like, yeah, that was all AI generated.
What?
He just fed it all in, man. And
I need to look that up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was just like, I bought all of that, Scott.
yeah, man. So tell me now, because obviously tonight we have a meeting later on tonight. So tell me a little bit about how you got involved with the SAM, the Society of American Magicians, and your role there now.
Yeah. So I'm currently serving as vice president there now, and kind of when I got back into it, like I say, about 5-6 years or so ago now, kind of started seeking out the local magic organizations. I'd been a member of. I think it's SIM now, SYM, Society of Young Magicians.
Okay, yeah.
Which was SAM related when I was a kid. I know it's SAM E now.
SAM E, Society of American.
Society of American Magicians Youth, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
SIM SYM when I was a kid, and so I was a member of that, and we had a chapter or assembly in Waco there at that point.
Very cool.
And so I was in that, and then kind of started going to different meetings. It was when Adam Dunnervin was president, and started talking to him, and like, yeah, man, I want to just get more involved and help out. And it's like, all right, great. What do you do? I was like, well, I do the digital content. And he's like, oh, so you're good with websites. Cool. We're going to make you secretary.
You're right. Come in. We got you.
Yeah. And it was a whole lot of, I said yes.
Yeah. You're like, I want to join. Let's jump in.
And so, went to meetings for a while, and then was like, yeah, happy to do that. And so wrote the minutes for the meeting and sent them into the magazine and such. So
start getting involved from there.
Yeah. And then, a little over, I guess, about a year or so ago now.
Wow.
Became vice president and working with John. And, last year we did a whole lot of different kind of themes almost for each month. Before that had been, and this tends to be a lot with a lot of magic clubs that, we're all going to get together. What's going on? What's this? Anybody got something to show? Let's go. And John really took a great initiative to be like, hey, let's have Ray Anderson come in and talk about character development. Let's have Nick Lewin. I might have his first name wrong, but let's have him come in here and talk about, production. What do you need to be professional and not just show up and be like, cool, I guess I'll just yell. Because you don't have audio.
No, this is great. I mean, I think John's done so great with it.
Yeah, he's done amazing with it.
I'm just a recent member, right?
Yeah.
But even just, I know it's kind of like an unofficial thing, but we all went to go see Wes Baker, right?
Yeah, that was great.
In Austin. So that was cool. Just because the only other time I'd gotten a chance to be around magicians was at Magic Live. I've personally been very isolated from the magic community. And
we had talked about that when we kind of first met, and you were like, "Wow, there's
other people here.
there are dozens of us."
It's just like what it just never ceases to amaze me. And because also there's always new people moving into Austin all the time.
Yeah.
Like there's always what I love so much about this city is that. Well, not only live musical capital of the world, so there's a lot of musicians here. Then you have comedy. I think it's pretty much becoming the live comedy capital of the world with Joe Rogan's Comedy Mothership and all the comedy clubs around town. But what's interesting too is that I love that because magic is still here, very present. It's not, I guess, in a sense, like overwhelming like it is in Vegas, where like everyone's a magician, right?
Yeah.
Here it's still unique enough and special enough. I think was it you or John that mentioned that. Austin like had a magic scene even before, like the magic history here goes pretty deep.
Yeah. And Kent would be the guy to talk to about that.
Okay, I need to talk to him. Yeah,
but I mean, it goes back a pretty good ways. I mean, Esther's Follies has been here they're the longest running variety show in the U.S. now.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Ray Anderson, I mean, is amazing.
Yeah. It was one of the first things I went to go see when I first moved here.
Yeah, his dancing cane is best in the world, man.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. And just the concept too there where like they perform the illusions and then they have like the glass behind them. So like it has to be 360, whatever. You know.
And one of the things he was telling us is that glass is tilted
Ooh.
forward. So you don't get blinded as the audience when the light hits it.
Oh, that's smart.
Because if it's straight up,
It would just,
bam, that light's going to hit right there and hit you right in the eyes.
yeah.
And so, yeah, he was like,
That's
no,
smart. Yeah.
we tilted it down so that, and I was like, y'all put a lot of work into this.
Honestly,
yeah. Be the longest running variety show in the U.S. You probably need to. So
Yeah, not an accident. Not an accident. But tell me, just as we're winding down here, anything as far as like, I know you're working on now on the Parlor show, as well, right? What do you see either here in like either your own future magic or like the future of magic here in general? Just any closing thoughts there on like magic as a whole?
Oh, wow. All right. How much more time do we have then?
We got a while. Yeah, take your time, please.
As far as like what I'm trying to do, really work on that. Definitely personally want to do more kind of walk around close up, just kind of get that feedback that you only get from a person.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a weird group as magicians. Like, we're super happy just to sit in our room with a deck of cards for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then, oh, wait, I need to show someone.
And not go crazy, or unless we're crazy already.
And most of us need therapy. So, but I mean, we're all these, introverted extroverts when it comes to that. So really kind of pushing myself to do that more. I mean, Parlor Show was kind of the end goal on that, but really push myself on that front side of it to, just, okay, yeah, pick a card. Yes, I'm going to find it. But as far as magic in Austin and in general kind of goes, in Austin, I think we've, kind of started to get a pretty good group of people that, are capable and ready to perform, to go out and show people magic. And we're going to screw up, fine. You're not going to break anything. It'll be fine. But people that we can start to, hey, let's do a show. Let's have, even if it's at a bar on a Tuesday night, whatever. But having enough people that are willing and capable and able to get up and, hey, I'm going to do something. And younger people as well. I say that as 47, but younger dudes as well that are able to get up there and kind of connect more and not just be the whole, all right, I'm just going to repeat this pattern that I read on this sheet like 40 years ago and don't say that anymore, please. You can't say that either. Don't say those words. That
magician canceled.
That is super offensive. Don't say that. But I think in Austin, but as far as kind of magic goes overall, like I was saying earlier, it's kind of like another golden age of it where it's cool. Like if somebody walks up to you and says, hey, let me show you a card trick. And from being on Rainy and Six and such, people aren't like, magic.
Well, I beg to differ. I'm somewhere in the middle. All
right,
but
fair.
In general, it is slightly. I think people are a little more open to it. I think that there has been a definite shift.
I think the thing we forget is most people haven't seen it. Most people haven't seen a lot of magic,
and most people have not seen good magic too. Most people that even have seen magic have probably seen pretty crappy magic.
Yeah,
which is why they have an aversion to it. A lot of people do.
Yeah. I could see that, and then. We've got Shelly, my girlfriend, who's seen more magic than any layperson should ever see in their entire life.
I'm done.
He's like, no, I don't want to pick a card. So, overall, though, like I think there's a whole lot going on now with not specifically AI, but we have to incorporate technology as a larger part of it. Like on kind of the bigger forefront, like we've had things like Anverti and that sort of stuff in the past, which is great, but going forward. Our phones are always in our hands, ubiquitous. We have to figure out ways to work with stuff like that. And we're starting to see some cool stuff come out with that. Yeah. And then an operating system update just kind of screws all that. But
yeah.
But I mean, I say that on one hand, but on the other hand, things that are tactile, that are in your hands. You know, putting a card in someone's hand and then it changes is way more impressive than, you know, hey, watch me move the flashlight on your phone.
Yeah. Which is a little cool, right? But I mean, I actually have a theory about that. I just realized this. There's what's called the modern cyborg theory, or it's something like that, where human beings today are more akin to a cyborg because we have a cell phone pretty much at our disposal. It's essentially
pretty much strapped to your hand these days. Yeah,
essentially an extension of ourselves, right? They go with us everywhere we go. They're capable of solving any equation, right? Any calculation that we need, we could do. So it's essentially an extension of ourselves, right? Which is why cell phone magic in particular is so impactful, because when you perform magic on someone else's cell phone, you're performing it on them essentially, right? Like if you can, you know, guess someone's passcode, then that's like insane, right? Because they're like, wait, what, right? If you can, you know, whatever, or like take a picture and like the picture changes or whatever it may be, that's like a whole. It's like you're doing it in someone's hand. I
was about to say, I think that plays as an extension to here. This card just changed in your hand. That picture just changed on my phone. I know pictures don't change on my phone because I look at my pictures on my phone all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know the thing you put in my hand was this. How is it not that now?
Yeah. I still think the oh man, I have yet to see anyone actually come up with this, but this would be like the perfect trick, right? I think we all would love it if you just take a card but like face up and put it in someone's hand and have them close their hand and then they open it and it changes, right? That would be like the you know, golden trick, you know. But no, I think you're very astute in your analysis of magic, and I'm excited for the parlor show that you're putting together.
We're going to talk about that. Off this.
Yeah, please. Off this. Anything can help you out, please let me know.
For sure.
Is there anything you'd like to plug as far as like where's the base? Like, you know, if someone watches this video and they're like, hey, they want, you know, magician at an event, or just want to talk magic, or want to know more about Sam, what's the best place for them to reach out to?
WeldonMagic.com is going to be my site.
Okay, perfect. Or Instagram as well. I know.
Instagram, Facebook should all be Weldon Magic.
Perfect.
Weldon's my middle name, so that worked out pretty great.
I love it.
I'd have to double check. Sam 206 Austin, I want to say though, is the website for local Sam chapter, and we're pretty much every third Monday, 7 p.m. Check out the website just to be updated, because we did have to reschedule this month due to some HVAC issues. But anybody that's interested, you know, please come out, and we're always happy to have new members, always welcoming. Come show us what you're working on. So,
fantastic. Well, Joe, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming by. This was really a cool talk. I love that you also brought the spooky tricks one more time on the show.
Please do.
This is such a cool little heirloom. But thank you for sharing your love for magic, your passion for magic, your stories, and I look forward to more magic with you in the future, man. Yeah,
sounds great, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.